My guest today is Jed Cawthorn, Principal Evangelist for Shinydocs. Now, this is a relatively new role at Shinydocs. Jed, let's do a quick introduction to Shinydocs and what you do there.
Hi, Jim. Thank you. Yes, I am new in a new role. So Shinydocs is an information management, information governance specialist. My role as an evangelist is to get out there and expound the benefits not just of my company, but of the industry as a whole. Information management, data management, information governance. But it's also to listen to everyone who's part of that industry, both other vendors and, more importantly, customers and users of information management technology.
That's great way to put it. The listening is part of evangelism in there. So tell me what you've learned from listening.
Well, recently I've spent the last week in Ottawa listening to federal government customers. We also have some at the provincial and the municipal city level. And I have seen that whilst everyone is different and, every level of government has its own issues to contend with, there are also some common themes.
Common themes? Like what?
Yes, common themes such as, dealing with freedom of information requests, understanding the depth and breadth of the information they're sat on, and also providing timely access to that information to both their employees and to their citizens.
Okay. And so what's the big issue what in all of that?
Obviously, there's many issues, but the big theme I think that arises from this is how do you figure out if you're about to start, whether it's a tactical improvement project or a giant, digital transformation project, is to understand what you're sat on already. How much information do you have, where it is, who has access to it, and just, how much stuff do you really have?
Okay. So I've heard that too when projects are starting out. I'm going to tell you, I'm just a little bit skeptical. First of all, it's the right thing to do. We all get that. But the reality is it's easy to say and it's hard to do. And I think for two reasons. I'm not dumping on people about this. We've all been victims of what I call the placemat strategy, which is you have your current state, you have your future state, and then the stuff that happens in the middle is how you get there. Reality, we just want to get there. And even if we're bought in, and I think it's a good thing to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm the first one to say, if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going to, and you won't know you got there. But when people are resource challenged, when they're trying like mad just to keep their head above water, I sort of got to forgive them when we come in and say, we'd like you to tell us where you are and where all things are. They just want to solve a problem. Do you get that feeling too?
Absolutely. And I think like yourself, I've been a consultant in the past and I completely understand what you're saying because I've, handed that over to the client and they're like, really? How do you help me get something done? And I think I've been using a quote which is rightly or wrongly attributed to Peter Drucker, the management guru. If you can't measure something, you can't manage it. And I've added find it. So if you can't find it first, you can't measure it, you can't manage it, where managing is taking action and doing something with it. Yeah. And I think if we don't, get to that good understanding of the current state, it sometimes, depending on what you want to do, is very difficult to make those improvements.
Yeah. I think that's fair. But how do we get there? There's a lot. People have tons of information out there. That's the problem. I mean, it's all over the place. We don't know where it is. How do we get to that state where we know what we have and where it is?
And that's very true. And that is part of the problem for many of our customers and many people that we see who comment upon industry reports. There is so much stuff in so many places, and the legacy repositories, or your more modern systems as people move to M365. So what you really need is some technology that can cross all those boundaries, that it's easy to set up and configure and will help you understand what you have and where it is. And, draw you some nice graphs and a nice dashboard to help you visually gain a quick understanding of where everything is.
So you're saying technically it's not as, using some of the technical stuff that's out there now, it's not as hard to gather it all up as I might have thought, or as it once was.
You know what? That technology keeps moving on, Jim. It's not as bad as it used to be.
Yep, they're going to put a man on the moon next. Not that fake thing they did in '69. No, just kidding. Okay, so I'm sold on doing the right thing, and you've convinced me that I should at least look at the fact that technology is advanced and you can pull this stuff together. You can get it together fairly easy. So what's the next step?
I think it depends on whether our listeners have or viewers have a project in mind, or if they are being driven by regulatory pressures, whether it's freedom of information, whether there is something they want to do at the city level. So it is contextual and depends what the driving need is. But for instance, we've found, talking to both provincial and municipal level, that people span up a whole bunch of team sites, for instance, to help with COVID working from home. And now they need to turn that from a quick response to a business need to understanding the long-term impact of that. And what are their users putting into those team sites? And how much of it? And should some of it perhaps not be there for various reasons? So people are starting to look at the long-term sustainability. And so that's where technology can help them with their understanding.
Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity. And in fairness, just so we're not criticizing anybody, a lot of people did miracles to get the remote work working and set up all kinds of individual things. And I think inadvertently, we may have even created more islands or more silos in the process of silos of information. So bringing all that together, that's a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, the technology gave us the ability to rapidly respond to an emergent situation, and it was fantastic. Whether it was Zoom calls for keeping people face to face, whether it's an organization's ability to quickly spin up a team site. But what you've got to remember is beneath that team site are hidden SharePoint libraries with lots of documents in them now, every time someone's uploaded something to a discussion. So if you add that to your pre-existing repositories, things have started to balloon again. And with the right technology, you can look across all your repositories and get an overall understanding.
Yeah, a friend of mine who was a CIO of a city said, cities are natural silos. I mean, there's all kinds of different departments. And I think they're complex. They're big, complex organizations now. Another friend of mine also told me that no matter what happens, when we're dealing with a corporation or a government, it doesn't matter. We want to think of that organization the same way we think about a person. So if it can't remember who we are, or if it doesn't know about us, or if it seems scattered because it's got information all over the place, we resent it in there. So we feel that the organization's uncaring. And even though we know differently, we can't help but feel that. So this presents us with a real opportunity, doesn't it, to bring that information together?
Absolutely. So, any great problem should present us with great opportunities too. And so whether you're setting up that single information number for your citizens to call to find the services that they require from the city, or whether you're a information governance head in a provincial level agency dealing with freedom of information requests, the same technologies can help you. They can help your employees get access to the information they need to answer a citizen's questions. They can put that information at their fingertips, or they can help your records manager or your information governance professional to find the right documents to respond to a freedom of information request. The bottom line is every city, every agency is going to have something slightly different that they want to do. But the commonality is, with good search capabilities, we can help the right people find the right information at the right time.
Okay, Jed, I started out skeptical, but you convinced me. So bring this information together, get it into one place, allow people to be able to search it and be able to find things so that anybody can get in touch with the information they need and break down the silos. Did I get it right?
Absolutely. Well done, sir.
I can learn too. So now that you're in this job, so you're out there listening and sharing with people in there. What's your next challenge?
Hopefully, some of the viewers, listeners would like to hit us up, and I'd like to listen to them too, because everyone has a slightly different story, and it's always great to get that nuance. So whether they want to give me a call personally, or get in touch via email, or just drop by the Shinydocs website and get in contact with us from there, we'd love to hear from them, because we'd love to hear what their problems are and see if we can help.
Thank you very much. So thanks to my guest, Jed Cawthorn, Principal Evangelist for Shinydocs, who taught me about bringing information together and evangelism as listening. Great chatting with you, Jed.
Thank you very much, Jim.
And now I'm going to turn it back to Fawn Annan.